I'd like to introduce our next speaker for the day as well. We have Meenakshi joining us from Google. Hi, Meenakshi. Good afternoon.
Hi, Sunil. Good afternoon.
A warm welcome and super excited to have this discussion on the growth in the retail sector. I think after insights from Meera, really looking forward to the insights from the Google perspective, and you'll have so much data. So really excited to have you discuss that. And I was talking to another client earlier on why we are organizing these leadership summits is also for us to kind of reflect and learn from macro trends as well as micro trends, both from across industries. Otherwise, as marketeers and business leaders, very easy to get too caught up in the operational execution. So these sessions are kind of to reflect and pull back. Before I hand it over to you, Meenakshi, for the presentation on the retail sector, I just would like to briefly introduce you to the audience as well. So just to introduce Meenakshi, I think more than career, actually wanted to first start off that she's an amazing human being, and she's been a great coach and mentor to us at Social Beat. I think she's also a leader for the I Am Remarkable sessions across the world for Google, and it really reflected where many of our colleagues at Social Beat also, both women and men, have really felt empowered after these sessions. So thank you, Meenakshi, for doing that. More formally, I think Meenakshi started her career graduating from FMS Delhi, and then went on to join Britannia. So some FMCG background there before moving into banking, and then has been with Google since 2014, if I'm not wrong, and really has been an amazing partner and inspiring many of us to take on bigger goals and bigger dreams. So over to you, Meenakshi, and I'm happy to share the presentation from my side as well as yesterday.
Yes, that would be lovely. And thank you so much, Sunil, for the wonderful introduction and the entire team of Social Beat for inviting me. It's a pleasure to join the brands in the room today. And I'm really excited to talk about the retail revolution which is happening right now in India and share my perspective on this online journey. So, for many years, India has seen a fairly steady consumption growth in the retail sector, driven by strong socio demographic fundamentals like urbanization, nuclearization, and the appetite to spend even higher, which are driven by an increase in affluent and elite households. However, the COVID-19 pandemic initially dealt a very heavy blow to the economy and consumption patterns, changing several facets of everyday life of consumers. I myself am called a shopaholic by family and friends. And for a significant time, even I paused all non essential purchases. But despite the shocks, the market volatility, and the disorder caused during the time, consumers adjusted to the conditions. The retail industry have remained resilient and robust. Consumers like me, for example, are back in action and how. And yet, there are more questions than ever, I'm sure all of you have. What are my customers or consumers doing right now? Are they still shopping online? Will they be open to shopping at my outlet? How can I better reach my customers? And what can I do that will guarantee important customer touch points are met? Today, in my short presentation, I would like to try and help you address these questions. And let me take you through the purchase behaviors of the customers which we are seeing persist online, and how some retail brands are able to pivot their marketing strategies to reach out to their TG. So first off, yes, you are right. The consumers are still majorly shopping online for both essential as well as non-essential items. This is a common trend across savvy internet users as well as new internet users that we are seeing. A recent Google commissioned Ipsos report showed that 69% consumers are buying still majority of the items that they need online. And if you compare this to the Western and European consumers, where 60% of the consumers have gone back already to shopping in store. This gives hope that the consumers will return to in store shopping in the long term. But right now, they are still online, and that's where you want to meet them. Giving you a personal strongman or a rather strong woman here, lens here, despite being vaccinated and having recovered from COVID in early June, I am still shopping online. Coming back, also do know that consumers are keen on exploring new brands and new stores online for the first time. Again, personal consumer lens here. At least 60% of the brands I'm buying from online are new ones I discovered in the last 1 year. Many of our brands are seeing a sharp uptick of net new users their web, or at their websites for the first time. With the help of Google Analytics, we are able to track the unique visits to the website for the retail brands that work closely with us, and we are able to drive sales through remarketing to the first time visitors. On the next slide, you will see that consumers online continue to be value conscious and mindful about what they buy. It won't come across as a surprise that Indian consumers especially, are very value conscious. For example, look at the consumer electronics and television demand that went up post COVID, the first wave of that, and post the national lockdown. We are noticing that these two categories continue to experience sustained demands for shopping online, and consumers do expect to shop from retailers who are offering value and seamless experience. Now, when we talk about value, what does that really mean? To the customers, and why not just ask them? So in the same Ipsos study, we asked participants this question, and two things came up. One is value for money through discounted deals. Again, no surprise there. And the second is value for convenience, like free shipping and in-store pickups for online bookings. So Google offerings such as merchant center promotions can help you communicate the promotions and deals you currently have to your clients. And it's a free feature on your Google Merchant Center, but details can follow, and you can get in touch with Team Social Beat or your account manager for that. But I'd like to talk about what we have on the next slide, where we see that consumers are looking for easy and convenient experiences from brands. It's not enough to have a website. You need to make sure that your website is easily accessible and navigatable on both desktop as well as mobile, especially mobile. The new internet users we spoke about are primarily smartphone users. If your website loads too slow or is too difficult to navigate, you've lost a customer already. Straw woman example again, if the site is slow, I completely exit and make a mental note of never going back, irrespective of how catchy the ad is and whatever promotional discount is promised. So it's time to think of your website experience to be as important as your retail outlet experience. Just as you strive to have a neatly designed storefront, plan your website experience in a similar fashion. Remember that consumers don't differentiate between online brand and offline brand experiences. It's a brand experience, and at the time when they are shopping, it's critical that you put your best foot forward. That brings me to the next part. While this was the context, that given that you now know that customers are still online and you know what they value, I want you to think about how would you change your approach in reaching out to them. I'd share how retail brands we work closely with have already altered their marketing strategies to be more connected to their customers. And Nassim Taleb, one of my favorite authors, the author of Black Swan, if anybody has read that, and also Fooled by Randomness, once said that the resilient resist shocks and stay the same, the anti-fragile get better. Now, taking a moment to just explain anti-fragile, I'm sure most of you know it, but for the ones who don't, simply put, anti-fragility is a property of systems which increase in capability to thrive as a result of stressors, shocks, volatility, noises, etc. Mind you, they increase, not decrease or remain at the same level. So I'd love for the brands in this room to step towards anti-fragility in 2021, not just withstanding the shocks, but growing stronger and better despite or because of the shocks. So I'll talk about three ways that brands can demonstrate anti-fragility. They are here, you can see on the screen, recognizing consumer behavior and taking action on them, reimagining your profitabilities and leading your marketing strategies with data and not assumptions. I think Meera had a very interesting quote on that. In God we trust, but for the rest, bring data. And that stuck with me. And I'll talk more about that. But let me explain what these three largely imply. So on this next slide, we see that the key question to consider when recognizing evolving consumer behaviors are about how your potential customers are affected, what industry expertise and tech you are leveraging to solve these challenges, and how can you better engage with your target audience. Let's talk about real retail brand that immediately pivoted to understand customer behavior when India went into lockdown last April. When ASICS discovered that their category was classified as non-essentials and retail outlets remained closed during the lockdown, the brand realized that they needed to work through multiple constraints to maintain profitability. The Google account team helped them understand what their consumers are doing online and how the brand can have more meaningful conversations with its TG. By leveraging first party data in their Google campaigns, the brand was able to talk to their loyal customers, who quickly resulted in improved sales and higher ROAS. The Google team also helped ASICS find more specific insights on what sports and fitness audience were doing online and how the brand can reach out to newer customers efficiently through new formats like Google Discovery ads and Smart Shopping ads to drive awareness and user consideration. As a result, we can see that there was a 14x increase in ROAS with 2 times more revenue generated at cheaper cost per sales. And now, who wouldn't want that? But I would pause here and ask you to reflect. Have you done a detailed analysis of your existing versus new customers with regards to behaviors on the internet? And how has that helped shape your online communication and marketing strategy? Your agency, again, Social Beat, and the Google account team would be happy to help uncover these audience insights, which can shape your online communication and inform your strategy. Take a moment to reflect on that before we move on to the next slide, where we would talk about reimagining profitability. This On the next slide, you will see the second smart thing which marketers do is to reimagine profitability across channels. Now, everybody knows about Duroflex, right? A very well-known brand in the mattress industry. The brand operated through primarily offline marketing channels for many years. However, last year they decided to try and shift gears to online channel after the Google team worked with them on value driven marketing. So, with the objective of strengthening their position as the leader in the online mattress category, Duroflex not only understood its audience's interest in cricket, but also customized their creatives to stay relevant to their audience. They reimagined their marketing strategy, and this paid off when the brand was able to ace the brand metrics for awareness and consideration. And what's interesting, not only this, but it also directly impacted brand search volumes, which grew by 6x in the 1 month period that the campaign ran for. And I'll again pause here and invite you to reflect. Do you, as a brand, track your brand search volumes? And do you consider that as important? What do you do when the brand search volumes are declining or saturated? Google Trends is a good place to start with the reflections on this brand search volume exercise. But for more details, again, you know who to reach out to. Now, given that more consumers are shopping online and exploring new brands ahead of this festive season, consider increasing your brand awareness and recall online, which can lead to more profitability and sales. And then we move to the last slide, which is lead with marketing data, which is my favorite one. Um, all successful marketers lead with data, not assumptions. And my MBA marketing professor at FMS used to say, assume is just as plus you and plus me. So this saying may be old now, but when I heard it 23 years back as a 20-year-old, it caught my attention and stuck with me. We just discussed how YouTube helped Euroflex build brand awareness and recall, but how many of the brands in the room think YouTube can deliver sales for a net new category? Um, I don't know how many. So, for the non believers, maybe this case study can change your mind. When Ustra launched a new line of offering in the highly competitive trimmer space, the major challenge they faced was building awareness while delivering sales in the short term. So, both. So Ustra and Google team decided to study consumer behavior closely through tracking and measurement. And through the understanding of this data, we were able to chart out a plan to target users and lead them lower down the funnel on the website. By weekly tracking, the Ustra team was able to successfully map and attribute success to the YouTube advertising piece of it. If any of this sounds interesting, you should definitely speak with your Google account manager on how to replicate all of this success to drive your brand's online sales. And I hope this short section was able to provide you with some insights and some thought provokers to adapt your marketing strategies. And with that, back to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Meenakshi. That's very insightful on multiple points. I think wanted to dig a little deeper into what we can learn from international markets as they are ahead of us in terms of opening up. Are there lessons over there in terms of are people going back to the stores, or are they continuing to buy online? Love to your perspectives.
Yes, indeed. There's a lot to learn from the international markets who are ahead of us in the COVID wave, and they are. It's good to have someone to learn from. And indeed, we have seen that in the Western countries which have opened up post-vaccination, Sunil, we are seeing an uptake on consumers shopping in store. Interestingly, the online shopping behaviors have not receded back to pre-lockdown levels. So in engineering, we have a concept called a permanent set, which is an irreversible change that remains in the structure even after the force which has been applied to it has been removed. So I suspect that there will be a permanent set here too in the shopping pattern. One thing is clear, the pandemic has reinforced what brands and retailers should continue to focus on. That is enabling people to shop when they want, how they want, where they want, and at the same time provide a frictionless experience. So whether it's online or offline, brands should be equally armed and ready to meet their consumers where they are and provide them with a friendly shopping experience.
Right, Meenakshi. It's a great time to be a consumer in many ways. So, right from home delivery of everything, I think thanks to all the convenience, you never felt the lockdown for many people was not as bad as it would have been, say, 20 years back, right, without the advent of mobile phones. How do you see from a brand perspective for retail brands as the lockdown restrictions are opening up? What do you think, retail brands should plan for, to ramp up and capitalize on the opportunity?
So you could say that again, Sunil?
I think there's some echo.
I have some echo. What can the retail brands to do right now to capitalize on the opportunity? Firstly, have a holistic lens. There is a question in the minds of the most retail brands right now, whether it should be offline, whether it should be online, whether should there be a composite strategy. But to my mind, as per what the data says, and otherwise we are just assuming, the message is clear: be online or be overlooked. So whether you are exploring new products or looking up reviews, consumers are today heavily banking on online research. And websites are now the new shopping aisles, Sunil. So marketplaces are opening up. Retailers can use Google offerings such as local campaigns to drive consumers to the retail outlets. But in any case, the mantra is that be where the demand is and reorient strategies real time by staying up to date on changing consumer behaviors. When in doubt, follow the consumer. For now, it is be online or be overlooked.
Right. No, absolutely. I think some of the categories, especially like beauty, for example, and cosmetics, there's a try and buy kind of approach, right? Even jewelry. How do you see those kind of retail brands, evolving to be digital first in their approach?
First, I'll give you the strong woman answer here. I never used to even buy clothes without trying, and now here I'm buying even jewelry without trying. And what a journey! And it just took 6 quarters, 1.5 years for this to happen because there was no choice. But specifically, I think you asked about the cosmetics and the beauty segment. And in fact, we at Google had the same question, and we partnered with Kantar late last year to understand Indian beauty consumer behaviors. So that article is up there on the Think with Google website, and I'd encourage everyone to look it up. But two things stand out for me, and that would be recommendations from our side. One is that using technology to transform the shopping experience. So, over the past few years, we have seen brands like Lakme, L'Oreal, MyGlam, who have made use of the YouTube AR, try-on feature to provide a near-to-reality experience for lipstick and eye makeup. And that is essential, right? You do not know how it will look on you, and you don't want to buy it. These brands have seen a very high engagement rate from the customers for the feature, and that has translated into brand sales for them. So, using technology to transform the shopping experience is one. The second, I would say, is partnering with creators. More consumers are turning to authentic, relatable voices for recommendations in the beauty category. I don't want to know how this dress looks on Kareena Kapoor. I want to know how this dress would look on a 43-year-old overweight woman who's juggling multiple responsibilities in life. So this is something we discovered in Kantar study also, that over a third of customers were impacted by a beauty influencer, let's say. And I keep coming back to clothes and not beauty as much, but this is a trend which we see across. So partnering with creators is another great way, I would say, to induce behavior changes in test and buy categories, whatever they would be.
No, that's very insightful. I mean, actually, and reflecting, even right from my dad, who was not really a big online shopper, now for his granddaughter, which is my daughter, everything comes online, right? And she'll say, "Dadu, please buy this for me." And a click, she'll get her chocolates delivered within a few hours. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was more of a Golgappa person, go to the market and eat, and not a pizza person. I didn't eat pizza, but in the last 1.5 years, because it's available, it's delivered at the doorstep, I'm now eating pizza. So yeah, being there is helpful.
Oh, definitely. Any final thoughts, Meenakshi, as we wind up the session for retailers and brands? Like, how should they look at, with the lockdowns opening up?
I would say festive is coming up. Please be where the consumers are. Currently, they are online. They may pivot back, but there will be a permanent set. So follow the consumers, follow the money. They are online. Come online. And Social Beat and Google are here to help you with that.
Thank you, Meenakshi, and thanks for all the insights today and for your support always. And I really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure to be there with Social Beat. Thank you very much, Sunil and Rita.